So thank you very much for your presentation. And Marcela, are you here?
I am here.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay,
I'm gonna
great.
share my screen, but before I share it, I just want to say that we in Bolivia, in South America, we share the same challenges, I think, and it's I don't know if it's a relief or it's a concern to see that there are global challenges that caregivers face, because in South America we think that the conditions in Europe are better. So it's interesting to share that we are in the same situation. In the case of Bolivia, and now I'm going to start sharing my presentation. Okay, so what I will present today is what we intend to be, what we're working out for it to be a chapter in the Living on the Edge book that together with the INTRAC members we are working with. My research is focused on street-connected children or on street-connected youth. So this is a particular group in Bolivia that is under-researched in the sense of care living, because normally they are living all the time and living home and living care in many moments of their lives. And most of them are in several care services or programs, residential programs, and then they leave again. So it's a very specific group with specific challenges. So the provisional title now is Street Youth and Their Erratic Path Out of Care Towards Adulthood in Bolivia. And that is also because we've experienced, and that's, okay. So just to give you a bit of context for those who don't know where Bolivia is. Bolivia is a country in the heart of South America. It's surrounded by Chile, Argentina, Peru, Paraguay, etc. And the research that I've conducted is mainly in the city of La Paz. This is the second largest city of the country and the political capital of Bolivia, where Evo Morales was president, because that's also one of the things that the people know my country. Some characteristics is that there is a dynamics towards urbanization. So we are a large country, but with 80% of people living in very concentrated areas, in the cities especially, and the country is being abandoned. And there's a few people that live in the countryside, and most of them are now living in the cities. So these cities are becoming crowded with all problems that are related to that. The problem of street-connected children started during the 80s because of this massive migration from the country to the city. It's one of the reasons. But one of the dynamics that has changed around the years is that more and more we see youngsters living in the street. That means from around 16 years old, 18, 20, 20. So it's not that small children anymore. And that it's also because on 2014, there was a new law, the new Children's Code, that was very focusing on the children's rights to have a family. So the government is now working for the children to be placed in foster families, or in a like reducing the number of children that are going to institutions, although it's still happening. But there is a broad number, around 10,000 youngsters that are kind of the sandwich generation, you know, the ones that are in the middle of the new law and that were too old, like 14, 15 years old, in order to be placed into adoption or in order to be placed in foster families or family reintegration. So among of this is among of them, you can see street-connected youth that had a street past that went to a street to a care center, and then when by the moment they turned 18 and had to transition into adulthood, went back to the streets. So that's the focus of the research. I hope I make it clear, because I've been struggling a lot with writing that in the introduction. So just a little bit of the research context. And some of the pictures that I'm sharing now, the photographs, are from this street connected youth that are normally participating in my research. And I'm just, so you know, they all allowed for them to take photographs, because it's kind of the participatory research that I conduct with them. Research there is in Bolivia, there are exclusive programs for street connected children, which means that they are only that they are coming to centers where street connected where street children or street children that have experience in the street are coming to live in that centers. And 97 of these street children who enter care programs live before reaching adulthood. So this is an information that already tells us that residential care for street children is not really keen. But the rest, the 3% that stays and that they reach adulthood, when they are going back, when they are going to transit to adulthood and to independent life, 50% of them normally goes back to the street. So this is kind of a challenge, because we are talking about children or youngsters that had been living in care systems for, I don't know, 5, 7, 6 years, sometimes as an average time. But when the moment comes after they have finished school, sometimes they have received technical preparation, so they go back to this. When they are transiting, they go back to the streets, and this is an enormous. I cannot find the word, but it's overwhelming for professionals too, because it's a lot of work, and then you see them again on the streets, even though that you were with them, accompanying them, or in care programs for many years. And how do I know that? Because I was one of the coordinators of a research of a care program before I became a researcher many years ago. Okay, so the research objective of the chapter is to understand what leads young adults with a street past to transition back on the streets when they age out of care. And for that, we used dialogical and social constructionist approach that actually guided my entire PhD research from 5 years ago, with weekly small conversations, formal interviews, and a final video where they convey their challenges and their fears when they transit to adult to independent life. So we follow the stories of 3 boys and 2 girls that had the same path. And what we found is, well, these are the main findings, and this is not yet written, so I'm really looking forward for your comments. Just let me plug my computer a little bit. Okay. So one of the findings is that their social network is still based on their street connected peers. So there is an kind of a social how do you say imaginary? Do you say imaginary? I hope imaginario social for those who speak. Yeah, okay. Imaginario social, that from the moment they enter the care programs, they are detached from the street. And as a matter of fact, this is not true, because they're going back and forward. Even when they go to school, they meet their street friends. So their social network is still based on the street connected peers. So by the moment, when they are in the process of preparing for live-in care, there is not enough social support from other networks that are not related to the street. The second finding is that they feel transferred as an object into adulthood, into adult life, instead of being accompanied on the way to adult life. The third one is that there's no option of returning in times of difficulty because they've reached adulthood. And in Bolivia, that's a very clear deadline. When you reach 18 years old, then the protection system stops caring. And there is no aftercare programs. It depends really on the will of professionals and NGOs that offer support. But if the NGOs that doesn't have enough funding, there is no really aftercare support, and there is no law after 18 years old. So basically, they're on their own after they turn 18. And the fifth one, that I think this is basically related to their street past, is that their street marks, the scars that they have in their faces, and the face deformation because they used to have to take drugs, just enables them for social reintegration. So if they want to work, I don't know, they want to teach, they want to become teachers, or they want to become hairdressers, if they have scars in their faces, they can't. So some of the conclusions that are being outlined is that the street-connected young people are aging out of care, have to manage multiple transitions. And I really liked it, what my previous colleagues said, that was these are alarming gaps. I think one of them is really that they have to transit into like finding a job or economic independence. And in the case of street children, they didn't have previous models on how to do that. So they don't know how really. And living on their own also, because they were never alone. When they were living on the streets, they were always with a gang. And then they moved into the care system and they were sharing dorms and everything. And then when they go back to a dorm, or when they they move forward to independent life, they have to live alone and they cannot take the solitude. And I used, we are using one of, I like this, categorization, I would say, of different experiences in care living. And one of them, based on Claire, a paper of this author, Claire, says that there's a type of care livers that are named the movers. And for me, it's kind of what happens with street children. Even the name, street children, they are really, their identity is based on the geographical space that they used to occupy when they were living on the street. And that identity really comes with them, even though they are not living in the street anymore. So when we talk about the movers, they had really multiple placements, planned and unplanned. And I think that defines the risk of homelessness when they are going back, when they are transiting to adulthood too. So the place of paramount stability is still the street, even though they had many, many years in other places, or they spent many years in other places. And well, another conclusion, I think, is what I've told you before, that there are exclusive care centers for street children, but there are no specialized transition programs for street connected youth. So there's a kind of a disconnection between that, because even though care programs for street children, there's no there's no programs specialized in that focus on their specific challenges. So I just want to close the presentation with this, with this line that says, "We can leave the street, but the question is, will the street leave us?" They say it's a matter of one, But I don't believe that we are here because our past was complicated, but our future is not easy. Either better to stay like this in the present on the street. So that's what I wanted to share with you. That's my mail also. And well, my question, I don't know, to trigger a little bit the dialogue is that for me, the situation of the street and all around the street conditions is very edgy. But we had a very specific instruction from the editors of the books that we have to make it, the chapter needs to show the edgy parts of care living. So my question is, do you think it's edgy enough, the situation that I'm presenting here? Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your interesting presentation, Marcela. So I invite also all the people from the group to ask question to your specific question, or maybe also even more also to all the other things you have presented. Please.
Okay, and I don't have a question, but I would like to share something. So, and to start, I would like to thank you, Marcela, for this amazing and emotional presentation. For me, I was listening to you, and it's super edgy, at least for me. And I was thinking, yes, I was right. I told you it was going to get better, and you're the proof of it. And also thank you for the amazing photos. You know, I love people, I love photos, so it's also very emotional, that part. And as you heard in my presentation, I usually steal some expressions, and from you I will steal when you say that they are transferred as an object into adult life, because I think that this sentence is really strong, and it's with these kids, but I think that it's with all care leavers. They are transferred as an object. They are not accompanied, they are not empowered, they are transferred. You know, now you have to do this, and now you're 18 and you do that. And just another sharing, sometimes when you say that one of your results is that for them it's difficult to deal with solitude. And that's a finding that we also hear a lot here in Portugal in our research, because care leavers talk a lot about silence, about how difficult it is to deal with silence. The word silence appears a lot in our discussions. And when I hear your presentation, I remember a lot of youngsters that say, I'm not used to silence, and it's really difficult for me to deal with silence. But no, I don't have a question, just to thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. I like, I'm going to include that in the findings, because I think that's it. The silence, it's what is striking the most. Yeah.
I would like to make a comment, Samuel. Okay. Hello, everyone.
¿Puedes hacerlo en español?
Ah, sí, claro, por supuesto.
Mentira,
pero
estoy bromeando.
Vamos a usar, aprovecharnos de esto. We'll take advantage of this now. But thank you, Marcela. Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. I hadn't had the chance to say hello before. I was on another group, but really was willing to listen to Bolivia's presentation, of course. And I have a thought and a question. My thought is, for the last 10 years or so, we've been working on what is peer-to-peer support in Latin America, mostly through the Latin American network of care leavers, etc. And Bolivia has a chapter in that network. But, and here is where the question comes. I still don't see a good integration between street children and caregivers in terms of theory. Do we know how many street children were in care before? Because this is an important information that we're trying to find in the different countries, as the number of young people in care who were in infractors before, like all this relationship where we can consider a whole group between street children, children who were in care, and children or young people who were infractors, to understand what is the cycle, the trajectory in their lives, and not to consider them as a separate groups, because as you well said, there is only one life experience. It's not a fragmented way of living in the everyday life. So thank you, Marcela.
Thank you, Mariana, for the question. In fact, no, there is no registration at all on how many children coming from the streets are in care programs. Even, I would dare to say, last year, the first census on children in care, placed in care, was launched. And that includes all research, all centers, but there is no differentiation in the report on who came from the street and who came from other places or other circumstances. So the group that I'm researching with, this is a group that was left completely behind all these registrations. So what we know is based on the experience, and one census that was launched on 2015 about street children living on the street. That's the information I got, that 4,000 children living or between 6 years old and 25 years old. But there's a kind of methodological issues, because to make a census with street children is difficult, because they move all the time. Also, it's part of their characteristic. And so by the moment that you are taking the survey in Santa Cruz, they can be in La Paz again. So there's a duplicity in some cases because they are not using even identifiers. So it's a challenge, I think, that we face, not only for street children, but with children in general in registration in Bolivia.
Thank you. Gracias.
Yeah. De nada.
Maybe I could. Hi, Mariana, by the way. Maybe I just can have here an added question, or it's a remark. I don't know. Maybe it's both. I think this point, what we could see really clear in your presentation is this challenge for programs when facing with instability in life, and I think it's quite explicit with children from the street or who lived in the street, but I think it's something we know all around the world with a lot of young people in care on the whole. I mean, the instability as a fact of biographies, and I think we still think about life trajectories and biographies in a stable way, and in a linear way. And you mentioned that there is no option to return, for example, when they're adults, and that it's very hard to deal with this instability. And so this is more the remark that I think we still have to learn a lot, also concerning what options we offer also for unstable lives and unstable life courses, because stability is maybe also a normative idea of adulthood. And my question would be, you said that the connection to the street is very strong, and we know a lot about how to work with families. We don't do a lot, but we know a lot. And maybe my question is, are they also working with people in the street as a family, or is it more that care is working against the street? You understand this question? Is it do they include like the social networks as a very important resource, or as soon as the network is in the street, it's more excluding it?
Yeah, I think you're right. There is this. If I see it now, and I thank you for the question, because it makes me it makes me think clearly. Sorry, the English. But that what I see and I experience myself is that programs for children in the street are divided into stages. So you have a stage in the street where they receive support, and then when they are in the first phase of care, they're completely detached from the street, and there's another people taking care of them and the other team. And then when they are reaching 13, 14 years old, they go to, because these the first stages are normally outside the cities, really for with the intention of them being detached from the street, being away from the street, from the the public center of the cities where they normally live. And they, on the second stage, and there is no connection between one and the others. And there is also one of the issues is that for them to end up in the street in the first place, the conditions of the family, the family disintegration was, at the top. It's a very deep and family disintegration. So we assume, and when we are working with these children, that there's nothing to do with the family, really. It's kind of, there's a prejudice that says that if your child ended up on the street, there's nothing to do with the family. So there's little motivation to connect with the family again, even though they normally have contacts, but these are underground contacts, because they when they're again going to the school, because they go by themselves or in groups, they meet their families, which are also sometimes connected to the street, or they are selling in markets, so they are going through the cities and meeting friends, family, everything, and they go back to the shelters again, to the residential care centers. So my answer is no. I think the model is very separated, and we work in differentiated phases. And I don't know, and it's something that we have to research about. But my hunch is that this model is not helping. It's not integrating all aspects of a family, of an individual, in their life.
Some more questions to Marcela? Just a short remark to all the presenters so far. It was very easy to follow your English. Just that for me as a not native speaker, maybe it's much more easier instead, as if you would talk as in mother tongue. But it was very, very easy to follow you, to all of you. So just as this feedback. But are there more questions? We have about 10 minutes left. It depends how much the delay will be respected. But of course, we have 10 minutes left. So some more questions or remarks?
Okay, thank you. I actually have one.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Vanessa.
You're a little bit.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, now it's better.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had some struggles with my internet, and I lost a part, and it was very, very interesting for me. Like I said, I worked for many years in Peru, and also with street connected children and youth. So and we founded an organization which supports young people leaving care, especially this vulnerable groups like street connected children, but also other, it opened for other vulnerable groups. And maybe after this we can connect, because I don't know, maybe you also, and they are connected in the care leaver red of Latin America. So, and I think it would be really nice to share special experience. Yeah, because I lost a part of your of the not presentation, but of the question part. I don't know if you answered, because there were the question if there are numbers about how many care leavers lived on the street or were connected to the street. And I asked if asked me if in Bolivia there is there are numbers about how many children and young people live in homes, because in Peru there are no yes, there are no numbers, or not really confident numbers. Yes. So this is one.
Well, first, I would like to your mail, because yes, I would like to stay in contact. I think we can share a lot of information between Peru and Bolivia. I think we have similar context.